we're back. Second half reactions. We're going to dive into the draft a little bit, talk about second half expectations. Let's maybe try to create some reasonable shopping lists for contenders. Like only one, there are some teams that are contenders where it's like, I'll use the Cubs as an example where it's like, who'd they just scoop up? Spencer Turnbull, where it's like, that's
Yes.
a good acquisition. As silly as it may sound, like that is the right step you maybe need to take. So first, we can hop into the draft a little bit. Definitely some surprises. I don't want to just LOL Angels and be another website that does that, but I'll speak purely from a Cardinals fan perspective. I was really under the impression that Jamie Arnold was going to be, or maybe Seth Hernandez was going to be best option for us, best player available. Which neither I think would have really bummed me out. But I certainly did not think Liam Doyle was going to be available. And I know both you said, as much of not much of a sycophant about the college ball and high school ball and the MLB draft as I am, but I was very surprised Doyle was available for the Cardinals, and even more surprised because the Angels did what I was feared the Cardinals would do, which is take a guy where it's like MLB ready and he's got he's got good secondaries. I felt like that was a bit silly by the Angels. I'm very happy with Liam Doyle. Any surprises for you guys as to how either your own teams reacted or just what you saw from the draft at all in terms of reactions?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a Yankee fan, so wasn't that paying too much attention to draft and haven't for a while. However, I do have just a general view of all sports drafts, which is that the consensus rankings when you look at scouts throughout the league and different different websites and all these dudes and people who are analyzing prospects,
Mm-hmm.
you could generally they're going to be generally pretty correct. This was my big thing. Like it was a different sport, obviously, but when the Giants had Dave Gettleman as their GM, and this dude would always draft people that and like 33rd overall pick, and he takes like consistently ranked 161st overall. And it's like he's like, no, no, no. I see something that no one else does, and I'm like, okay. There's a chance that you see something that no one else does. However, there's probably a better chance that the 100 scouts who decided that this guy's about the 161st best player on the board are statistically likely to be smarter than you by yourself. So, like, not that I don't know that much about the MLB draft, but just looking at purely the consensus rankings, like you said, the Angels drafting the 18th overall ranked player with the second pick could work out, but definitely bold.
Yeah,
Considering that everyone else is like, oh no, like, I wouldn't go with him there.
the other thing that surprises me too is first of all he remains unsigned. Slot value for that spot is a hair over 10 million, and I totally understand. The Nationals, right? Like they got a guy that was still ranked in the top 5, but they got him well under slot, and the idea is like, all right, you know what? This is gonna let us go get, there's this high school kid committed to LSU, but let's take a shot on him in the 3rd or 4th round, and let's throw him a bag and let's see if we can get him in our system, because that does tie into that, like you're in that maybe 150th overall range where it's like, I see something in this kid, like I think he's a lot better. And again, I used the Liam Doyle example because I felt like it was a pretty obvious pick for the Angels, even though the Angels, I'm not even trying to LOL them, but like Doyle is by all accounts like a fast riser. Like some scouts have tagged him for reliever risk because his delivery is weird, but like to me, it's a low effort weird delivery. It's not something that I see injury tag with, and it's like if I see a guy going deep into games and he's got a funky delivery that doesn't put stress on him, okay, that kind of neutralizes that risk for me. The Cardinals were able to get him for about $800,000 less than the slot value. So even then, we're still looking at a guy that went under slot. So I just find it weird. And maybe actually, forgive me, maybe the Angels have signed him. I think I saw some stuff last night that they had signed everybody but like 4 or 5 guys, and maybe MLB.com hasn't quite updated yet. They maybe were able to get him. I think they did actually for like 2 million under, but that's still more than what Liam Doyle signed for. Which
Yeah.
I've and obviously every situation's different. Like I'm not, I don't know.
And I would love to be
Himes League. Maybe this is a Himes League moment for Liam Doyle, but I have to imagine if you could get him for 7.25 at pick 5, you probably could get him for less than what they signed Bremer for.
I would love to be inside the head of the agent where, you represent the guy who's supposed to be like middle first round and all of a sudden your guy goes 2 overall, because you come to the negotiating table and the implication has to be that the team is trying to sign you under slot. But now you have the leverage of like, look, you think he's worth the 2nd overall pick, and this is the value of that pick. Like, I think that has to be some of the complication here with getting him signed maybe a little bit slower than other picks. Because, I mean, I wasn't super tuned in on draft night. I kind of had it playing. But there are other picks like, the Marlins and the Red Sox where I'm looking through the Orioles with Ike Irish. Like, they basically just signed their guys for exactly the slot value. And that seems like easy enough, straightforward, right? But when you're trying to get a guy for that however much under slot, especially when the slot value falls off the most from the first couple of picks and then starts to level out a little bit more, like it must be an interesting negotiation coming in and saying, look, like you think my guy is worth the 2 overall pick, you're going to pay him like he is.
Yeah, I do wonder that too, because at what point does if you go that high, right? The best example I think is in the comp round, or the competitive balance round. The Tigers took a guy that was like ranked outside, maybe even like I want to say the top 250, and they still got him around what that pick value was.
Yep.
So part of me wonders like how much of it is a conversation of like, hey, we know where you're ranked, but like, like, hey, we'll give you around your slot value if you we're gonna take you a lot higher if you're willing to like sign with us pretty much at slot or under. Like, we're planning on getting you earlier. And I wonder, like you said, I'd love to be in a fly on the wall for like that agent's conversation of like, hey man, like if they're willing to do this, like, why not?
Because at the end of the day, that's a lot more value that's like a lot bigger of a signing bonus than he would have gotten going 18th overall, right? Nobody's going to sign him that much over slot anywhere in the draft. But I don't know. I do think it's an interesting dynamic, especially when more broadly to me, it kind of seemed like this year there were a lot of teams trying to play a little bit of slot value maneuvering. I mean, I know that's kind of what the Cubs went for. They went to go a little under slot as well. The Angels did it. The Nationals did it with the first 2 picks of the draft. And I don't know, there's always teams that are trying to play this game of going under slot, but it seems like it's becoming like a pretty consistent strategy where your first rounder is not guaranteed. And so you're going to try and spread your draft capital out as much as possible across your first 5 picks instead of sinking so much money into one guy.
Yeah. I mean, and in the end, it's just like you're worth what the league decides you're worth. So if you get picked, if you're the 30th best player in the draft and you get picked 3rd overall, you are the 3rd best player in the draft. Like there's like in the end, like the team that drafted you can't be like, hey, like technically we could have waited, and it's like, well, you didn't. You used that pick on me according to the slot. This is what I'm worth. So like, I wouldn't have asked for $8 million yesterday, but now you let me do it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I also wonder, like, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the other thing I wonder too is like Rudy, you brought up like it seems like that was a pretty common strategy for teams throughout this draft, and I wonder, you go back to the Skeens Cruz Langford draft, right, where it was like, I don't know how much leverage the Pittsburgh Pirates had in that Paul Skeens negotiation. Like it was pretty like, buddy, what does the number say? Show me the check. Like show me the check 1-to-1. And I wonder, like, is it just – it goes back to, like, shocker, guys. This is a publication that's very pro-player here. Part of me wonders if it's owners being scummy and letting sort of narratives about, this isn't that strong of a draft class, and kind of letting those narratives build of, like, oh, well, there's no obvious all-stars in this draft. So, like, really, we're taking a lot of organizational depth throughout this. Like, we're going to go under slot. I wonder how much of that is that outward projection, which enables them to do that in a year in which, unlike some drafts we've seen definitely recently, I think, which is very atypical of Major League Baseball drafts, is like, hey, yeah, there's a guy that within 6 months' time that like probably should be playing Major League Baseball, and not only will be playing Major League Baseball, but will be an impact level player at the Major League level. Like, I just think that that's very uncommon for Major League Baseball, and teams are struggling to figure out how to play that game.
So that's something I was going to ask, actually, because I was sort of wondering. I mean, certainly, noticing from the 2024 draft, there's already a lot of guys that are playing big ball, and I wasn't sure if that was a trend where we're getting to the point where college, like the level of play in college baseball, is starting to close the gap to the major leagues, and so we see that players are a little bit more ready coming out of college, or is that a peculiar level of talent coming from that draft? Because there are a lot of 2024 draftees that are already in the bigs. And that, to me, like, either that's a competing dynamic with what we're seeing where teams are trying to save on their slot money when they sign picks, or it's a difference in the actual pool of players from draft to draft.
It's funny you say that, because I think it's a combination of both, right? Like, I think a guy like Chase Burns, it was just like, okay, like, I don't want this dude wasting bullets throwing 100 miles an hour at AAA. Like, right. At a certain point, it's like a guy's got to sink or swim at the bigs. You know, Nick Kurtz, a college first baseman. Like, those guys, their ramp is very short. Jack, same example. I know he's been playing some outfield out of necessity as well. But and he's starting to find his stroke a little bit too, which is great to see. I think other guys, it's circumstance. Like, when Cam Smith got traded to the Astros, it was like, ooh, like, this guy's probably playing. like this guy's probably going to play for them, because he also was a college bat. And like, based off of that trade, obviously there's part of that is the name that he was acquired for, but also it was like, well, like, we got an opening in right field, and like, you're probably the best guy that we can put there. So I think it's a bit of a combination of that. I think, honestly, as well, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this. I don't know how perfect the lottery system is for baseball, but I think that also plays a huge part in it, where teams the current CBA incentivizes, like, winning Rookie of the Year, like, you know, gets you extra stuff for the player, for the team. Like, there is certainly a lot of carrots to have your young stars up. And I also think, like, again, you go back to the 2024 draft, like, the Cardinals were 4 games over 500 and in 2024, and they just picked 5th in this draft because of the lottery. Like, that is helpful. Like, the guy that, like, we got to take a guy like Liam Doyle, who, us as a franchise, like, you look at the Cardinals right now and it's like, yeah, the lineup's solid, doesn't have, I would say, like, a big thumper. But the real issue is, like, you know, once we get a 1 through 5, like, in the rotation that we feel confident in, like, there we go. Like, that's when that can be done. And so for Liam Doyle, it's like, well, I don't want to waste this dude, because we're trying to win. I mean, we're trying to win without spending now, but like, we're going to start to try to win and spend in the next year or two. So like, let's call him up and see what he's got. And I think more teams are in a position because of the lottery to do that. I'll pass that to Adam first. If he,
I generally agree with it. I think that also when you're at the top of the draft, especially a team like the Rockies, who are just so abysmally horrible, like, even though like Holiday's not MLB ready and he's a high schooler, they still like took a big name. Like, I'm not the biggest draft knower, but like, obviously I know Ethan Holiday because, you know, it's they're the Roosevelts. So like, you know all of them. And like, I think that for the Rockies, I mean, one, great player, like, you know, run to the board, put him in. But you definitely want to just be able to try to get a big name just to sell seats. And I could fully see them rushing him through the minors. Nothing about the Colorado Rockies strikes me as, oh, they're going to handle his development well. Like that.
Adam, what do you mean? That is an org well known for being on the cutting edge of analytics. Insert screenshot of they have one guy in their department.
All one dude. Poor
They were
Jerry or whatever.
they were letting coaches fly the team plane last year. Like, that's a real thing that happened. I cannot believe that wasn't a bigger story. There's
Excuse
literally
me.
a photo.
What?
You don't know about this?
No.
Dude,
I did not
Data,
hear about that either.
I'm not playing. It got leaked. It's a photo of their coach, and he's like this. I'm gonna move my chair and everything. He's at the controls, like.
That's so funny. Nathan Felder, bro.
And guess what? When do you think they fired that guy? I'll give you a hint. It was like 2 months ago. It was not last year. After a photo got leaked of him literally flying the team plane. So
I thought the joke was going to be that he still works there.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did not fire him. He is their manager. Dude,
I could not. They're
I love the
a great
Rockies.
spot.
I love the Rockies because I'm of the opinion that like in the Olympics there should be one normal person in every single event to show you how
You're asking
like
for
incredible.
pros versus Joes?
Yeah, like just like one, not like an unathletic, just like an average runner, someone who like runs every day, just to show you how many times they get lapped in like a 400 meter or not 400 meter, like a 1500 meter or whatever. And the Rockies were kind of like that for baseball because you just get to see a team. 29 teams are like, all right, at the very least, we're going to utilize some analytics. We're going to try team building the way every other team is doing it. And they're like, nah, we're going to stick with what we believe from 1984. And that's going to take us the whole way.
Hey,
And they are now the
think
worst team that's ever existed. That is so fun.
And the crazy thing too is like I want to ask you because you alluded to like rushing him through because like you need a spark. Where do you think they rank in attendance this year?
Oh, they're not bad in attendance.
I mean,
At
it's a
all.
beautiful place to go. It's like one of my.
They're
Like, shout out
they're
Denver.
13th in baseball in total attendance right now. They are still averaging. I mean, it's gate receipts, so, but like I will say, whenever I am tuning into one of those games on MLB TV, it is certainly one of those teams. I'm subtweeting my own franchise, where their reported attendance feels to actually closely resemble who actually attends the game. They're averaging 30,500 for their games,
Yeah. It's
and
impressive.
that number is
Good for them, yeah.
they are averaging more fans at home than they are on the road too. So
Yeah. It makes
That
sense.
that tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you're.
you would think that fans would want to go because it's like I'm going to see my team win and it's going to be cheap. If it were me, I want to go see
Yeah.
the Rockies play. They're chasing history.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
free win, and and the price.
yeah, I have a couple thoughts. One is that Denver almost feels a little bit like DC, which has this reputation of like there's not as many people who are actually from here as there are people who are like coming through for some other reason. So you get in like a more than normal proportion of fans of other teams. So they're always going to want to go see their own team play the Rockies.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a factor there. And then I lost the other one. That's all I got.
I
People
feel
got
like
really mad at my really obvious sarcastic Aaron Judge bait that was on our TikTok a couple days ago.
which one?
When I said meat low leverage man, oh my god,
Low
everyone got so mad because well, Adam, I did the ultimate bad faith argument, which is show me a chart of his home runs by inning, where obviously because just by sheer volume you have more opportunity at the start of a game, you're going to hit more.
Yeah.
Like, that's
He had
true.
another one today. He adds to it, man. He adds to the narrative.
Like literally, exactly, it feeds the most hilarious bad faith narrative imaginable. Because
I love
there's
Yankee
no. It was just very funny because people were getting mad about it, and then people were like in the replies being like, "Well, you saw the graph." Like the
Numbers
obvious.
don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Wait, I didn't see the numbers this TikTok actually put up.
Dude, yes, bro, it did numbers because people were getting cranky, and it was like that graph is misleading, and people were like, "What do you mean?" It was like, "What do you mean?" He asked for it. Peyton did
There's
such
no
a
such
fun
thing as a misleading draft.
It's so funny, bro. Of course he has the least home runs in the ninth inning and extras. Of course he does.
Yeah.
But it was just incredibly funny. Like,
Well, it's like
unless you have 10 career home runs and you happen to hit a bunch in like the fifth inning or later, like that's the only time you're gonna have a graph where that argument would look not like nasty.
That's so funny though.
Bait. It's so funny. That's like it's the funniest argument to be like, yeah, look, he's low leverage, bro.
I think I fell for Aaron Judge bait more a few years ago. This year, I've like it's just impossible for me to fall for it because I'm like, ah, damn, that's dude like that. That's just kind of stupid numbers he's putting up. I'm like, you can't tell me anything anymore about him. Like, I'm not gonna be realistic. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna hit 450. It's fine. Like,
Yeah, the funniest thing is like too is the first line of that video is Rudy and I being like, "Yeah, it's crazy how he's like a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer already." Like the video literally like we're literally talking about how good he is, and then we just
Yeah.
throw a little joke in at the very end that everyone that's all right, man. Like I guess that proves audience retention, but I was like, golly, man, like we're just getting a bit off here,
We just need to skip Bayless on here, man. That's just
dude.
we can learn anything from ESPN. It's
The
that
guy that I added to
hire
our
the guy with
video thing
analytics
that's recorded
knowledge.
with us a couple times. He and I, every time we're having an argument about something that's not sports related, and we realize we're like first taking it, we'll just start going skip, in the Shannon Sharp voice to each other. Oh my
that's
goodness.
most fun.
Anyway, so you
sports
said,
arguments are
you
that.
said you like the Twins pick of
I have
Merrick
no idea
Houston
who Merrick Houston is.
at a
Not gonna
Wake
lie to you,
Forest.
but, you know.
Yeah, that actually was a good pick by them.
The only takeaway I do have about the draft and that about the Yankees draft specifically is that people looked at the Yankees take 2 shortstops in the first 3rd round and were like, yeah, nah, they're out on Volpe. Everyone's a shortstop.
Yes.
Every hitter is a shortstop in the draft. In the first 16
that was
picks,
actually crazy.
every single hitter was a shortstop. They don't. That's just what they do. Like, I'm not saying the Yankees are in on Volpe long term. I don't think they are. But them taking like Kenneth Klein or something, Caden Kent from A&M in the 3rd round is not them being like, this is our guy. Like, that's just what teams do because shortstops are the easiest guys to move to other positions.
Literally, the guy the Cardinals drafted in the 2nd round was a high school shortstop, and they literally just announced him as a center fielder in the draft. They were like,
Yeah.
you don't have the arm for shortstop, brother. Like, we're putting you in center field."
You draft a second baseman, that man is a second baseman.
Correct.
Hopefully, maybe a first baseman. Like that.
Yeah, unless if he's tall enough, maybe he moves to first.
Yeah. Like,
you know what's really funny is if you want a really good example of everyone is a shortstop. Here's what it is: everyone is a shortstop, a center fielder, and a pitcher until they become minor league baseball players. The best example of that. Do you know who the all-time leader for the University of Michigan is in saves? University of Michigan. Jake Cronenworth is the all-time Michigan saves leader. So there is a good example of everyone is a shortstop, a pitcher, or a center fielder until they become a minor league baseball player, and it's like, all right, time to figure it out.
Well,
which I say, if there is ever a scenario when the Padres go position player pitching, I want Cronenworth up there, and I want to see him. I want to see it pump 90, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's every once in a while, I think it's like Skip Schumacher was like, whenever he position player pitched, would pump like 85 because he could. That's what I want to see, dude. Like, I want to have some fun out there. Show me a little cutter. Show me something interesting.
I think Brett Phillips would do that too. He would pump it. Yeah.
It's about, you're down 10 or you're up 10. You might as well have some fun.
What's your view on them putting in position players pitching up 10? Because some people are like so against it because it's like, oh, like you're.
I mean, I watched the Cardinals pitch Albert Pujols in a game. They were winning 18-0. Like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he gave up 4 runs, but I don't care. Like, I truly don't care. I think it depends on who the player is. Like, if you're down, it can be. If you're down, it's like the 26th guy on the bench. It's your you know what I mean? It's your like, hey, he's here because he's playing once a week. If you're up like 15, I'd say you got to like. I want to see Kyle Schwarber throw in a game when they win by like 15. Like, I want to see a veteran that's like going to get some clicks here.
Yeah, on his retirement tour, I need Judge pitching. Just one time. I want to see a big body on that man. Like that would be.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be dope. Yeah.
I am always pro because it's like if the manager is willing, any situation where the manager is willing to run a position player out, please, by all means. Like this is a major league manager; he can do anything he wants with his roster. And if he's willing to put a position player out and say that this game is safe, there's nothing. Like there's no reason he shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, if the problem is the hubris of it, that guy could easily get you in a position where the game is not secure anymore. Like it's taking a risk. So there's nothing that there should be nothing stopping that. And I think it's silly to say that that's like disrespectful in any way. Because if you take that as a disrespect and you think that you can hit the guy, go hit the guy, tie the game, win it. Like they're giving it to you. So
also I find that so funny of it's an unwritten rule that it sucks. Oh my God. And then there's the clip of when D Gordon hit Travis d'Arnaud. and like Darno like totally like crumpled as a joke because it was a
Yeah.
40-mile-an-hour pitch, and like those guys, it's fun for those guys of like, you know what, like today is just one of those days where like some crazy shit happened that we got lucky or we got really unlucky, and we're just out here. We're just trying to get through I'm trying to go home and eat some dinner, man. Like, I'm going to lob it in here and, like, whatever.
And not to make it, like, I don't know, to the extent that it's a serious conversation, I think that we're also in an age where you can't take any pitcher's arm health for granted. And so to the extent that we can, like, save pitchers for innings that are higher leverage or closer games, like, even if you have relievers that need to get time, having the ability to run or needing to get like throwing in, having the ability to run them out for a controlled bullpen session instead of going out in the game and having some weird thing happen, your fielder makes an error, you're out there and you throw more than you need to, like there's no reason to do that. At the end of the day, their arm is their most valuable commodity. And if you can respect that a little bit and run out a guy who doesn't care what the result is, and, we all just have a little fun and then get the game over with, like, it's not that deep. And
it's also awesome.
If my team is down 10 and I see a position player I really enjoy hucking it on the mound, like, all right, you know what? I got my money's worth today.
And I'm like, all right, I want some of my players to like, pump some stats up. Like
why not, bro?
Yeah. Like, it's fun.
I want to see Mason Wynn get on a bump because I remember he got interviewed recently. And it was like, how hard do you think you could throw on a mound right now? And he was like, I think I could still hit 90 like regularly. And I'm like, dude, if we're in a situation, low key yesterday, sorry for timestamp, it was 9-0 at one point, like the fourth. Ugh. I'm like, just put Wynn out there, put Wynn on the mound, let him get a couple innings off. Who cares? Like,
that's the only sport or only thing with like, it's the only sport with a good gimmick still. Like no other sports have like real good gimmicks like that. Like, could you imagine at the end of like a football game when it's a blowout, you just put defensive players on offense and offensive players on defense? Like that would be so fun to watch. I want to see Jalen Ramsey playing quarterback. Just like why not? Let's see what happens. Like, let's see some dudes out of position. This is like baseball having this gimmick as just straight up a part of the game is so awesome. And like one of the things I love about it.
And have it be part of what Rudy said, which is like it not only is like it's a fun thing, like you talk about for fans and all that, but there is a legitimate, like, you know what, we're going to keep a pitcher healthy and like, like no pitcher wants to pitch when it's a blowout like that because like giving up any run like that feels terrible. Like I've heard like low leverage dudes talk about how like once a game gets to a certain point, it's like insulting to be like, you're going to burn me. Like you're going to burn me in a game when it's 11.
You get sent down the next day. Like,
yeah, like really? Okay. Like that feels great to know that you want me to pitch right now. Like,
you've reminded me, like, I think the comparison to football brings another aspect of it as well, which is that, like, when you compare baseball to a sport like football where the roster is so much larger and football teams are often carrying, like, a third-string quarterback who never actually sees the field, and then that might be the guy you pull in, like, the lowest of low-leverage situations. Like, what's the difference? Like, baseball just has a smaller roster, but at the end of the day, if you put some guy out there as, like, he's going to pitch when we don't want to throw any of our, like, serious leverage arm relief pitchers. To me, it's the same logic. This is a guy that's on your roster. He doesn't see the field in this situation normally. It's just that in football, that's his position, and he never sees the field at all. In baseball, he's a position player, but you can still run him out there as a pitcher. Like,
bring back expanding the rosters to 40 in September, I say.
I fully agree. I love that so much. Just when they call up the random speedster, that like the Yankees had so many dudes like Antoine Richardson. Dude scored on Jeter's last hit. That's so dope. Who is he? No one knows. He just showed up for one game.
I don't know if 40 is the right number, but I want to have a legitimate conversation though of like expanding the roster for like September rosters and everything. For teams making the playoffs or for teams with young pitchers where we're trying to like think about innings limits, right? Or like things like that. How is that harmful?
Yeah.
How is that harmful in any way? I think it, like, exactly like you said, right? It creates a little bit more fun strategy of like, you know what? Like this pitcher's wind up to home is slowest in the league. We're going to call up like 3-4 dudes that just have burners and they're all going to be in the lineup and they're all wearing like 97 and 81 and like, but guess what, man? We might steal like 9 bases today. There's that element, but there's also the element of like, man, like we really want to preserve this guy's innings for the postseason. Like if we can get him an extra day of rest and throw, the 36-year-old guy that's like let that guy just kind of soak up 5 innings and, he gets to be in the majors. And like, I don't know. I think it was just a really cool thing where like more guys got a shot than they maybe otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And it helps rest like guys that you're going to need.
Yeah, and also
Throwback to the very limited period of time where the Royals rostered both Gerard Dyson and Terrence Gore. Anyway, carry on.
well, it also just goes back to because of what you were saying earlier, where like if you're down 10 runs, the guy that you're going to go to that's on your playoff roster, and you ask him to go throw 3 or 4 innings right now, he's going to like be a little offended by that. But you go to some 21-year-old kid who's like just trying to prove himself and just got his chance. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go give you 4 real good innings and try real hard. Like I don't care about the score. I don't care about I don't care about the result of the game. I care about like making sure that I prove myself right now. Like it's also just fun to see more
And
names up there and give
you
more
know
people that
what?
chance.
You know what else is? I haven't heard chatter about this in a while, but I remember this being a conversation topic a few years back, where I think there was a quote from Anthony Rizzo talking about the potential of shortening the baseball season, because they're saying like just 162 games is a long haul, and I think that personally, like I don't think the season needs to be shorter, but I think that when you decrease the number of players that can be on the roster in September, you are functionally shortening the season for the players who are actually playing, or you're functionally lengthening it, excuse me, for the players who are actually playing. Yeah, because like say you're like your major league starting lineup is taking a lot more at bats in September that they otherwise wouldn't have. The season is functionally longer, right?
Oh, you're saying by making it to 40, it helps shorten.
It helps functionally shorten the season for the
yes, I agree.
guys
Okay,
on the
sorry,
roster.
I'm caught up. I totally agree. Then, yeah.
100%.
Because you're lessening the load on those guys, especially when they've already played like almost a full season's worth of ball. It means that you have healthy and rested players for the playoffs, and it in general like just lengthens the injury burden on your actual starting players, which I think.
And to be honest with you too, especially with expanded playoffs, I would much rather be able to preserve myself. I'd much rather be able to preserve my bullpen, preserve my rotation. Like maybe you go to a 6-man, maybe you like. I would much rather be in a position where it's like, you know what? Guess what? For the last weekend of the year, we're a game out, right? We're a game out, so we need to take 2 out of 3, and we're in. I'd much rather know that, like, man, my closer's on 3 days rest. So like if I need him to go 2, maybe even 3 times in this, like I can do that. Like, I've given that extra rest day to my starting catcher, like more than normal. Like, I don't know. I just think it's, especially with expanded playoffs, it's something to think about where it would incentivize the end of the season being so high stakes. Because I think something that does stink is now a team clinches. When a team clinches, it's like, I kind of want to see the crap lineup. Like, it's almost like soccer where it's like, I want to see the B side. Like, where are my 30 FV value 27-year-olds that are quad A guys in the org? Like,
and
show me that guy getting some run at the end of the year. Why not?
Here's another thing about it, and you can take this or leave this depending on whether you're a fan of the high level of parity that baseball sees in the playoffs. But the reality of it is that baseball is so much of a more random sport on a game-to-game basis that you see a lot more randomness as far as whether the like better team advances in the playoffs in baseball. And I think bringing back the roster flexibility of a roster that's doesn't have to be 40, but say 40 players. Bringing back the roster flexibility that comes with having 40 players means that then teams have to also weigh like the risk of making the playoffs versus using their best guys or trying to save them for the playoffs. And you bring back a scenario where teams who have clinched earlier in the season have a more concrete advantage when it comes to the playoffs because they've been able to rest their best players.
The other thing with that too is, a good example, like Tink Hence may be a good example for this. We're like, so in order to be protected from the Rule 5, he had to get put on the 40-man at the end of last year. It's not like you're starting the clock on guys. When you can open it up to 40 or whatever, right? Like what you're talking about is guys that are on the 40-man already. So like you might as well, like you're already paying them what they'd make if they were playing on the big leagues roster every day too. So like, what is the harm? And if anything, it's a great way you're not burning a year of service time on any of these guys, right? So like wouldn't teams maybe like to have the September call up of the top prospect? I think would be more commonplace if if there was that significant of an increase in the roster, because then it's like, okay, if the guy stinks, he stinks, but like maybe this guy could be a spark plug for us.
Yeah.
And I think from a fan base, from a viewership standpoint, I think this is good for the game. I am curious what we'd make the number, but like 40 just makes sense because it's like hypothetically you could just max out your 40 man.
Yeah, I mean, 40 is it has to be pretty large because in order to have, like you said, like the ability to have a crap lineup, like you want, like right now, if your team, if you clinch playoffs a week before the season and all right, we're going to rest our starters more games than not, you're only resting like 3 or 4 guys any given day max because that's all the bodies you have. But like if you want to be able to be like, all right, like the way that in football and other sports, but when after a team clinches in football, that next game they are 100% second stringers.
Kenny Pickett is taking meaningful snaps for the Eagles
No,
for 1 or
yeah,
2 weeks.
exactly. And it's like that's that's what it kind of should look like in order to be able to have that rest advantage and like you guys are saying. So like it kind of has to be closer to 40-ish to just to make sure that you have enough arms and enough hitters to like run that.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, you run a 4-man bench, right? So what if it was like 36? So like 5 extra
36 is
hitters,
the
5
number that's
extra
sticking in
pitchers.
my head. I like
Yeah.
okay, it's disgusting if it's an odd number.
Yeah.
Don't even start. I don't know. 36 feels right. It's not 40, but
You get 10 extra spots, and then that way that leaves you wiggle room of like if you don't want to call your top prospects up for whatever reason, like your
Yeah,
top
the
3,
40.
4 in the org that are on the 40 man, you don't have to have them on the roster, and it can be that roster filler. But then that enables me to do what I said is really fun, which is the full B side lineup.
Yeah.
And also just from a visual standpoint, when the dugout looks like your high school team, like
Yeah.
that's fun. I'm sorry. It's fun to see the dugout where they're this close to each other. Like that.
It's also dope when it's like looks like your high school team, but also it's Aaron Judge and then a guy who's very clearly adores Aaron Judge and is like soaking up the opportunity to play next to Aaron Judge for 1 week. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like you get more of those because so many, like again, like Antoine Richardson being part of like one of the more like iconic Yankees moments of the past
Mhm.
like 10 years. Antoine Richardson. Like that's such a that like wouldn't that couldn't happen now because the kid's never getting called up for literally
Right.
just being fast. Like he does nothing else. Like that obviously he didn't have an MLB career, but like I do think that would be fun. Also, you said about the odd numbers, because absolutely not. I agree, but also I think 25 is better than 26 from a pure mental and visual standpoint. 25
Mhm.
always felt so clean, and 26 just feels
Sure.
like,
But any odd number in the 30s,
oh
don't
yeah,
get me
those are
started.
disgusting. Yeah, no.
We're playing aesthetics ball. Yeah.
Of
If I told
course.
you
Something that
if I
matters.
told you we're upping it to 31, we're adding 5 spots.
Disgusting.
I'd stop watching
Disgusting.
the sport.
No, just
If I
give
said
me two.
if I said we were upping it to 32, you'd be like, okay,
It's like,
3 of
fine.
each.
Just give me 2 perfect squares. 25, we increase it to 36. Good enough.
Perfect. When they said they were going to up it to 26 or whatever, I think my brain, like I said, we're very pro player publication. I was just like, oh, that's another job.
Yeah.
Which, can I say, great job by the players union finessing owners on that, being like, well, think about all the full-time DHs that, like, we need a roster spot for that. And then obviously, like, modern lineup construction, that just wasn't true, but it still just gave way to just another roster spot anyway. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
just
that
another
was,
pitcher.
yeah, well, that's something that they need to work on. I'm glad that we can agree on expanded rosters and whatnot. There needs to be an addressment of. I saw a great graphic of pitches, thrown with at least 97 miles an hour so far this year, and there's just a massive spike. There's like 5,000 more even thrown this year versus last year, and the way that there are roster limits and roster construction, like I think the only way that you're going to get velo curbed to help the health of players, to help offense and all that, it has to be a little bit more policing of how you can choose to roster pitching, because I think that there's never ever going to be a scenario in which there's an incentive to like be a junk baller. Like no one that can throw 100 willingly chooses to be that kind of pitcher. So I just think there needs, and I don't have an answer, but if I'm on MLB's competition committee, I think that's one of my priorities is how can we create and incentivize it? Like, how can we force more guys to do what Jacob deGrom does, which is like, I can throw 101, but I'm only going to throw 98 so that I stay healthy. Like, he has to do that, but I would love to see that done.
I mean,
but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, what are roster limits going to have to do with that?
Yeah, because they already have the
total number of pitchers you have, then like teams are maybe more incentivized to not just like preach in their player development, like the willingness to just churn through like 5 and dive injury type guys.
But I mean, if you're a pitcher and like, I don't know. I don't know how much you can really make this argument on the basis of like Jacob deGrom does this, so everybody should.
No, I know. I use the pie in the sky example on purpose because it's the one that is like the easiest to point to of like a guy that like has to. He could be God, but he has to choose to be a demigod in order to not get hurt. Like he has to.
I don't know. Like if for anybody who doesn't have the level of success that Jacob deGrom has under their belt, which is 95% of guys who make the major leagues, like if the answer to how am I going to get more guys out, how am I going to be a more successful pitcher, like the easiest answer to that is velocity. I don't know if there's anything the league can do to disincentivize that. Like it's simply like, do you want to be better at your job, which will directly earn you more money?
It's also just that like teams don't like that's just how teams scout now too. Like teams, the whole like you can't teach velocity. Like you can't teach a guy throwing 100, but you can teach him how to spot it. You can teach him other pitches with more movement, all that stuff. Versus like, the kid who hits his spots throwing 88. Teams are like, all right, like, I don't see that ceiling. I mean, the Yankees, Cam, like I didn't even know his name, like Cam Ritledge, and now like I'm like this kid's stuff is ridiculous, and you just churn dudes. Every team has 15 guys in their farm system that you just watch a pitch, you're like this is absurd. And none of them throw 94. Like they're all just
what's crazy?
They're not coming up with it.
What's crazy about that too is it's also now incentivizing when you go and look at the draft. I can't tell you the number of guys I'm seeing getting taken in day one where it was like, yeah, he had a 6.5 ERA in college last year, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then you watch the video of him playing, Sun Belt Conference ball, and you're like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's a splinter that I think I blinked and I don't know where it is now. Like that.
Yeah.
That is leading to, when you talk about how it circles back to talking about how teams are willing to be able to get guys under slot. I think that's also a part of it is they're taking chances on stuff and they're going, well, you kind of sucked dick in this year in college. like you weren't good last year. So like, we're not drafting you on results. We're assuming risk. Which I don't even know if they really are. It's a draft pick. Like, obviously you are.
I was going to say, I don't think they're – yeah, right. They're not taking any more risk necessarily than what's inherent.
But that's something that they get to frame, I think, the players to get them to go under slot typically. Yeah. Like, you're seeing less and less of, the guy that, like you mentioned, has really good control and throws 88 and, like, well, he's 88 to 91 and, like – I don't know. I mean, you still see that because teams go, well, if we can get that guy to throw 93, 94, then we have, like, who's a guy that does that now? Like Brandon Woodruff is starting – he's, like, become that now where he throws, like, 93, 94 on his fastball, but he also has insane arm slot and control where it's like I also throw a 90 sinker, a 91 cutter, my slider is 89, and everything comes out of the same window. So it doesn't really matter that I only throw 93 because everything looks the exact same out of my hand. Those guys still get taken. It's just they don't get jumped up the draft board because they had a good senior year at Missouri State. No disrespect to Missouri State. I was trying to think of a smaller school. That was the first one that popped into my head. Smaller, shittier, like Iowa State, kind of smaller schools like that.
That's crazy.
Good chirp.
Not
Oh,
they
if we're doing, hey,
I'm like,
I
good chirp.
can
Good chirp.
don't have a baseball team, by the way.
correct. That's part of why I was able to lob that. Well, Rudy, you didn't let me get my shameless bait off, which is that if you look at MLB draft success, I was clearly the baseball program.
For the
It is
state.
true though. Cardinals took a guy from Iowa. Another guy went like third round overall. Miles Michaelis just served up a ball that I think is rapidly approaching Saturn from off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. So
Yeah,
that's what
it's similar if you look at physicians who trained in the state of Iowa.
for for what?
Surprisingly you don't get an award for being the only program.
Well, you should. I should have done my obligatory. I'm really excited Miles Michaelis is pitching today because it's one less time I will ever have to watch him pitch for my team ever again. So the countdown is on, baby. It's interesting how the draft has now become. I don't want to sit here and say that results don't matter. Like I think results do matter. It just, especially in high school or college, I think that's really hard. And then it becomes like, what do they show at the lower to upper level of the minors? We can run studies on like correlation of statistics to MLB production, but I also just wonder how much of that is like, I don't know, like a guy's going to walk a lot if he's also hitting a lot of home runs because especially the minors, like guys are just going to pitch around him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's figuring out what is tangible is I think the next great wave of scouting is like, what are the most tangible things in the lower levels of the minors?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
there's no that correlation. Like even in all sports, I just feel like high school or college stats are just so tough to go on. Like last year, my friend and I for my like us one of my like stats classes at school tried building a like machine learning algorithm that looks at college players in basketball, college players' stats and height and strength schedule and all that stuff, and predicts like their outcomes. And it thought Kyle Filipowski was going to be the number one overall pick, and he ended up going. I think he's like 55th to the Jazz. Like you, because just in the end, stats are real tough to just go on when even a guy like Ben Rice was hit terribly at Dartmouth for a couple of years, but did well in the Cape Cod League, and then all of a sudden the Yankees signed him, and he dominated single A, double A, triple A. And now he's a starting MLB player. Like you really like stats are so tough to go on, and it's so much just tools scouting only, and like you kind of have to just run with it. And then there's a guy like Skeens who's playing in the highest level and dominating highest level, and you're like, all right, that's safe, but.
Yeah, well, and he also appeases the boomer scouts, because he doesn't have an ugly
That's
girlfriend. So you got to remember, you got to keep that in
That's
mind
all you
too.
need.
Yeah, shows he's got confidence on the mound. Clearly,
he's confident.
um, I guess we should definitely transition a little bit into second half kind of expectations. I guess we could just go like division by division and talk about because I think Tampa's once again in like a fascinating spot. We can start in the AL East. I honestly, in a weird way, I think I can do the Red Sox quickly and the not the Yankees. I can do the Red Sox quickly. I think they're just gonna hang out because they have a lot of young guys that just got called up. They've got my God, Michael has just got a cherry call. It was 4 inches above the strike zone. Jesus, I should have been ball four. I think Boston's standing pat. They just called up a ton of top prospects. They made the Crochet deal. Like, I know they lost Casas again for the year, but when I think about the position that Boston is in, I think it's good enough to compete for a wild card spot. And it's like, where can you push your chips in if you're Boston? Maybe I'm wrong on that, but like to me, there isn't a super obvious move for them to go out and make.
I agree that there's not an obvious move, but I still do think that they try making some sort of whether it's like I could definitely see them trying like overpaying, well, not overpaying the guy who can pitch is incredible, but like doing everything they can to like bring Sale back, or just trying to get like some name to just
Mm.
be like look, like tell their fans like, hey, I know you're pissed about Devers, but like we like our team, we think we have a shot, like we're gonna go for it, but where like because they can't like they are in a very weird place just timeline wise because they're just they're mixing like 4 different timelines at once, and like do you go for it? Do you push it? Like I don't think they're gonna put all their chips in and try like I mean I don't even know who the target would be, but like I could definitely see them maybe overpaying a bit just to try to bring Sale back or a DeGrom or one of the veteran pitchers that could be on the move and just try and just tell their fans like we we believe in this team this year because after trading Devers, it kind of felt like they were saying we don't believe in this team this year.
Yeah, and the other thing I think is like anytime, I don't know, this is more true of some divisions than others, but I think with the AL East being where with all the teams being where they're at, where even with the Orioles, you can kind of see that this down year, like they have a lot of the same talent that
Yeah.
if they ran it back next year, they could be a lot better. Like I think if you can see light in the AL East, you have to try and capitalize on that. And even if that's a wild card spot, like take the opportunity, try and get a playoff spot because that's never a guarantee.
Yeah, I know the Blue Jays similarly have said they're willing to deal top prospects. Um, Other than Trey, I don't know where these top prospects are. I don't know who they could be referring to
In
because
the
that
room with us.
farm is not good. It's not very good. But I'm glad they're making the effort. I think Bo Bichette is a fascinating case of do you extend him or not? Because I think maybe not everyone, but like I especially last year felt like, well, he was just hurt and like the team wasn't great and there was just a lot of clouds with it. Like everything that could have gone wrong for them last year did. And so
Mhm.
I just viewed it as kind of a wash year for Bichette. And like you look what he's doing now, and it's like, oh, he's OPSing like 770 again with a good batting average. I think the question just becomes like, is he actually going to be a shortstop long term? Like, where does he fit defensively long term? And like, how much money do you want to commit to a guy like that? Because he's basically, I think he's like if Dansby didn't play good defense. It's like maybe a good way to kind of describe him, which is not good because the reason Dansby Swanson makes like $26 million a year is because he also plays very good defense. So like if he has
Yeah.
a year where he only OPS is 715, it's not the end of the world because it's like, well, there's the defense. So I don't know. The Jays are in a really, I don't know if precarious is the word to use, but they got a lot of money coming off the books too. And with the Vlad extension locked in, like I wouldn't blame them for just like pushing it in this year because their system sucks anyway and being like, if we get lucky and win it, great. And if we don't, like we're shedding a bunch of money in the next 2 years and like we'll just
Yeah.
rebuild around Vlad.
I think they probably go it all in. I mean, it's kind of been their like MO at most years that they've especially like the mid 2010s, like when they were contending, it was like they went out and they got Tulowitzki and they got David Price, and it was like they've always been a team that wants to like make a splash at the deadline, and I mean they're 3 games ahead of the Yankees. I think that like biasly, but also I think I'm biased that they're definitely a worse team than the Yankees, but they're still 3 games ahead of them. Yankees have like I think the run differential difference is plus 112 for the Yanks and plus 26 for the Jays. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty insane. Um, but results are what matters, and there's 3 games and they're 3 games up right now, and the AL is pretty wide open. Like the Tigers are being pretty human right now. Like the Astros, you never like. There's no team in the AL right now that you're like, oh well, they're gonna sleepwalk their way to the World Series. And also, it's baseball. It's so random that if you're the Jays, you're in it. They have a real chance of having the best record in the AL and having the home field advantage. Like, may as well just go for it because, like you said, like I don't think that they are this team next year. Like, I think that they take a real step back, and I think because I mean the Orioles won't be this bad again next year. The
Mm-hmm.
Yankees will probably be a little healthier. Like I don't, and I don't see the Jays this being. I think for the Jays, it's like this is the year to like really go for it, and then sign Otani. They're gonna sign him. It's coming soon.
He's on the plane, right?
Yeah, he's on the
It's too
plane.
bad.
That's what I've
He's
heard.
flying to their Florida
I've seen a
complex.
report.
Listen, the final thing I'll say that's interesting about the Jays is that I think, and this is, of course, being the only team in Canada, uniquely a problem to them, is like, how do you get around the fact that when you're signing guys to the roster, they're like losing more of their contract, basically, right? Because for Vladdy, they've made a bunch of this contract a quote-unquote signing bonus that still is paid out over time for tax purposes. But at the end of the day, you're trying to build a roster under a completely different, tax system than the rest of the league, and that makes it harder to convince players to sign with you. Because
I have an idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we know who owns the Blue Jays, right?
Yes.
Okay. They relocate their corporate headquarters to Delaware, so then that way it's an employee signing a contract. They're signing an employee at-will contract in the state of Delaware to therefore duck Canadian tax, and also they get to duck even standard tax, similar to how, Adam, you brought up a name that I will immediately poo-poo, which is Jacob deGrom getting traded, simply because he makes a lot of money and Texas does not have state income tax, and he has a full no-trade clause.
Yeah.
He's going to make the Hall of Fame. He's got a World Series. I think for him, he's like listen, he also seems like the kind of guy where it's like, hey, I haven't been healthy for this team. Like, I want to fulfill my services to this ball club. Like, I don't think he's getting moved. That's my suggestion to the Blue Jays is have your corporate headquarters be moved to not Delaware, at Connecticut, where they have the all the corporate tax benefits that exist in the state of Connecticut. That's my advice. Or you move them to like the Dominican Republic. You do that too.
Fire.
To appease Vlad even more.
To appease Vlad, yeah.
Yes.
Fire. No, so that's my other reason, I think, for pushing the chips in if you're the Jays right now is it's not every year that you come out of the All-Star break 3 games ahead in the division. And when you're facing that uphill battle of signing players, and right now that looks like your best path to reconstructing a roster is free agency, go for it. Try and make something happen this year.
How excited are Blue Jays fans to finish second in the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes? I mean, that's got to be such a thrill for that fan base to know that like they're going to be in the mix, and Bob Nightingale will potentially tweet that he is signing with them. I'm really excited for that reality.
That's weird because I'm pretty sure the extension's already signed. They're just waiting until after.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, dude. Yeah, yeah. And I throw 96.
Hey, I haven't seen you not throw 96. So
that's true. You've also not seen Kyle Tucker sign the extension. Yeah, I don't know. I think the rest of the AL East, the Yankees, like they'll trade for someone that the fans will cry about on social media. Their fan base will put out trade hypotheticals that will make me want to strangle myself.
Nah, Andujar's getting moved this year. I'm telling you.
We say that as a joke. We'll get to the AL West, but Andujar is legitimately getting traded as like a legitimate piece for someone. He's going to be like a 4th outfielder, but we'll get to Andujar. Like that, he is finally, for the first time in his life, he is a legitimate acquisition that if I were a team where I was like, damn, we kind of need a left fielder to like hit for some average. He's dirt.
Oh, God. He has any of the 3 like middle of the road AL Central clubs written all over him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you told me the Tigers were going to go get him to play left field, I'd be like, okay. Like I can fully see that happening.
So that's not one of the teams I was talking about, but yeah.
Oh, the Royals? He's
the middle of the road. The Royals, Twins, or Guardians.
That's a Kansas City Royal. He was there already, right?
No. Wait.
You see, Adam, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're like, he was a Royal, wasn't he?
We think we traded him for prime
for Bobby Witt Jr., right? It was Andujar and Jackson Frazier.
Okay, you did scare me. I had to check and make sure that he was never on my ball club, but I do think that's something I would have remembered.
Random questions, man. I agree. The Yankees. I think the Yankees will get one name. I think they probably end up doing another like. I if I had to put money on it right now, it's like Suarez and Gallen, and they just hope Matt Blake can fix Gallen, and they trade some bigger prospects for them.
We'll get to Gino. I think Gino's going somewhere else personally.
You think he's a Mariner again?
If you want my nasty take, I think the Yankees are going to get Brian Hayes, which I think is the funniest possible move the Yankees can make because it solves the exact problem that Yankees fans actually have, which is he's just going to hit 9th and actually be good on defense, which is I think the most like the Yankees. You need guys like that to play.
He's kind of a perfect fit, yeah.
I think he's perfect fit for that.
We
because
don't need a big bat at third. Like
correct, you guys
the
need
lineup
someone
is
that will
7 deep
not.
at the very least.
I think it's Cabrian Hayes is who they're going to trade for. I think
I could
my
definitely see
real
that.
take. I don't think it's going to be the D-backs. I think it'll be Cabrian Hayes and Mitch Keller is who I think the Yankees will trade for.
I mean, I could yeah, I could definitely see that, and also it would fit that like
Mm-hmm. Third
one
baseman
kind
and a
of
starter, one-stop shop it.
yeah.
I
And they
think
also
that's the
will
play.
do some 40-man shopping and get some random arm that no one's ever heard of with a 6.3 ERA who throws 104 miles an hour, and then
I
see what
think
happens there,
I
which
think
is
that
what
line you up
which is
well.
their yearly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really as worried about the Yankees as I feel like most Yankee fans are because Yankee fans are out of their minds.
Yeah, they're
All
10
love.
games over 500 and a weekend away
Yeah,
from first place.
have never had a losing season in my life, but we're the worst team in the
Yeah,
league. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that they have a fine deadline. Like
yeah.
there's not the only like Sparks move I could see hypothetically is Alcantara. Just because he does feel like again like you know you got a couple more years of control. Matt
Mm-hmm.
Blake, I mean they trust him as they should. The guy's a fantastic pitching coach. And see if you can. And I also think a lot of Alcantara's struggles are just that the guy hates being in Miami at this point. And he's like, what the hell is the point of pitching for this dog water organization who
I'll
like
say
I
this
thought we
though,
had a
dude.
chance and now we suck again. Like
Go look at. Do I need to like screen share this? I don't know if y'all. What I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for Sandy Peyton. You're gonna have to put this in at a later time. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the stuff, man. It's all good. It's all above average. Everything.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's not a question of it's the fact that his best pitch is locating terribly. Like the issue is that his best pitches are the ones that he locates the worst. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a repertoire change. I don't know if it's a usage change percentage, but like I don't know. And again, like it's hilarious anytime someone has a 7 ERA and it's like, oh, only a 4.7 FIP. But I don't know. Like you
He
look at
still
this.
has 7 ERA.
Yes, because it was like 11 for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 7-14. I mean, the guy was very arguably the best pitcher in baseball not that long ago. I mean, I guess it is 3 years, but still, like I just
It's also the first year. It's
I
also the first year back from Tommy John. Like it's
yeah,
not going to be
he's
perfect.
29. Like when guys have had that, and it also wasn't a 1 year wonder. Like the guy was really, really good for his entire career until he
Mm-hmm.
got hurt. And like when you have a dude like that, it's just tough for me to just be like, ah, nah, he's washed. Like this, I mean, this happened with Justin Verlander, except that he was 5 years older. Where everyone was like, oh yeah, he's cooked, and then it goes to Houston, and then they're like, oh wait, no, you're still pretty damn good. Not
Yeah.
anymore, but. Also,
It
this is just a quick aside, but did you guys see the? I know you did, but just talk about the Acuna throw.
Yeah.
we haven't talked about it on camera.
No, we had
Holy shit!
that's the greatest throw I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it's
No,
up there.
actually.
It's very well up there. He's
I mean,
turning
He was standing
flat-footed.
still. He did not get a crow hop. He did not.
No, that's
so
all arm.
dude, the most underrated part of that though is Nacho Alvarez on the no cell.
Yeah,
Nacho, if you watch the camera of Nacho, he stands there and doesn't react. He doesn't get in a ready position. He literally is just like waits for it because he sees it's a seed on target, and then
Yep.
it enables him to just do that. Underrated part of that play because I guarantee you, if he had lined up, he would have been safe.
the third base
Also, the
coach is trying
Yankees.
to get him a
I was
slide.
going to say. Oh, he was actually signaling to slide.
Yeah, he's saying
Okay.
he's like he's doing this, but I don't think he saw him, or he was just. Also, this is this is Vivas, like 25-year-old dude, pretty tough look. And Boone after the game was so pissed. He's like, because they asked him about like what Alvarez did. He's like, yeah, I did that every single game when I was playing third. Like,
Yeah.
slide, and like he was like tight. I'm like, yeah, that's valid. But all this say that throw was just absurd. Like,
Yeah. Ridiculous throw.
It's up there with, I mean, the ones that come to mind for me. You've got the Ichiro throw as a rookie year, which is nuts. Vlad Senior's got a couple throws that are mind-boggling. I think everyone remembers the Cespedes throw where he like boots it in left. That's an absolute seed. There's also Peyton. Go find this for me. There's an insane Ramon Laureano play where he is moving from into
I was
left
already done that.
and from the track on the fly, nailed the guy at first. That to me is the best throw I've ever seen because he has to run away from the bag, make the catch, stop his momentum, reset, and he also I don't know if he got maybe he got one crow hop in it, but like it was still a goddamn laser. And that to me was one of the most insane ones I've seen too.
Watch the Acuna throw again because you could cut exactly how you just described Laureano's throw and apply it to what Acuna did.
And yeah, it's not that Victor Scott.
He's also like moving away. Like nothing about it physically makes any sense.
Yeah, my ACL, my double ACL amputation and transplant for him seems to be working well. After I took his ACLs and he got my 2 healthy ones, so I made a sacrifice for the greater good of the game.
And we all thank you for it. So should we talk about the NL East then?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the Mets are going to do because they'll add. It's such a. It feels like lazy analysis to just be like, oh, good team will be adding bullpen. But like I think good team will be adding bullpen. There's a guy that I want everyone to keep on your radar right now. The reason I don't think they're going to go get starting pitching is they've got a guy in AAA wasting away. This guy is putting up god numbers. Nolan McLean. He's a top 100 prospect, so I'm not giving y'all a deep dive or anything like that. Like this isn't a crazy deep cut. But like he's ready. He's absolutely ready. I think he should be in the Mets rotation now. And I think the reason they're not going to go out and acquire starting pitching, even if it's on expiring contracts or anything like that, is like, why do that and give up prospect capital when there's a guy we can pay league minimum to like, if we need him to cover some starts in August, he's going to cover some starts in August and we're going to be in a good spot. I'm really in on Nolan McLean. And I think that the Mets are probably just going to look at their lineup and go, yeah, maybe they'll take a peek at third. I don't know. Ryan McMahon, like Steve Cohen will spend the money. They're already at the third. They're well past the like third tier for luxury tax. So like they could be the team to take on Ryan McMahon, but I think they'll just add bullpen. You know, what do we need? Who's available? Kind of situation.
The only thing I can see with the Mets is just the. Go ahead.
You think Nolan McLean's gonna cut it with his walks where they're at? I haven't checked his stuff out, but he's walking. His stuff is
disgusting. Do you see what his last start in AAA was, dude?
No, of course not.
I was not watching.
Yeah, I understand he's one of those prospects that I'm just like a fan of, and ergo.
Because I mean, I'm seeing like obviously great stats on the year, but a lot of that's AA, and then you come to AAA, and he's like a good AAA pitcher, but not lighting the world on fire.
His most recent start. Oh, excuse me. He did. Never mind. He made a start last night. The start before the start last night. The one I thought was his most recent. It was 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 0 earned runs, and 10 Ks. Which I was like,
That's good.
But he did. I mean, it's a little inconsistent. Yes, the walks are a little bit of an issue, but like, I don't know, man. He's getting punch outs. He's going deep. Like to me, the biggest thing is like once a minor leaguer is going deep like that and getting some tangible results, like, and like how much better is a guy that they could get, you know, like Sandy's doing the same bullshit. Like, and that guy got to pay $20 million versus we got a guy that they're factoring in for their long-term plans that makes $700,000 or whatever the league minimum is now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the only thing I can see with them is that they like, just from a pure like narrative ball perspective, they are probably the team with the most narrative pressure. Just because like last year was big fun. Last year was like their fun year. It's very similar to like how I feel about the Knicks recently, where it's like the Knicks had a year of like came out of nowhere. Like everyone was like, "Oh, I didn't think they'd be contenders. They're playing great. This was such a fun year. It's a success no matter what happens this round." And now like they had this offseason of Soto, and like we're the big dogs in town. All this, and they've been good. I mean, obviously they've been playing good baseball, but I think that they have like they're a World Series or bust team. and like I think that they have that pressure where that I could see Cohen just again just trying to get even just a name that he knows more just because he generally trusts Epler, but I do sometimes think that he gets that like real rich owner guy of like I want the headlines. And like so I could see him, especially if the Yankees make a bigger move, trying to get in there.
What I will say, to me, the Mets are not World Series or bust. This is maybe a more general philosophical take that I have. I don't think you should ever label yourself as a World Series or bust team, because in doing so, you are robbing yourself as a fan of being able to enjoy your baseball team. I think if you're a Mets fan, you need to at worst lose in 6 games or better in the NLCS. Does that make sense? A
Yeah, no,
competitive
I
a
agree.
competitive NLCS loss to Philadelphia, like that. Obviously, that would suck, but like
Philadelphia, they'd probably crash out, but yeah.
yes, but like you drop that to the Dodgers. Like if you're a Mets fan, you can't sit there and be like, "Well, we took the Dodgers to 7 and lost." You can't call that an unsuccessful season. Like that's
No, 100%. It's more so like that. This is a like very New York narrative where
yeah, I
New
hear you
York
on
as a market and New York as fans are
that.
absurd and
Who are the
unrealistic.
Indiana Pacers of the National League this year? That's what the Mets really need to be
That's a
worried about.
yeah.
That's who they need to be the most concerned with.
Carson, you know who it is, and you said we're not going to talk
It's
about them.
yeah. I was gonna
No,
say.
honestly, do you know what it
I
might
feel like
be?
it's them.
Could be the Padres too, though.
I was thinking them or the Giants, sort of.
I'd say
Yeah,
I think Padres might be a better fit only because the Pacers and Padres kind of also have a perennial. Because the issue is there's no team that could make the playoffs this year that is like, oh yeah, these guys are always in the playoffs, like historically. Maybe the Giants.
I'm
Maybe
telling you, it's the Brewers, even down to
no,
the market
because the,
size
the
of the
whole thing the whole
Midwestern
thing with the
player.
Pacers was
yeah.
like the whole thing about the Pacers historically is like they do make the playoffs every year. Like the Brewers have not done that historically. That's a recent trend, but like
Yeah,
in the last the craziest stat about the Pacers is in the last 40 years, no one except for the Spurs has made the playoffs more.
that's
It's
definitely not
crazy.
true of the Padres.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think there's a good Pacers comp
Yeah.
because you'd have to find a team that makes the playoffs a ton, never wins the World Series. But
Christian
like
Yelich is gonna have 4 walk-off home runs in like
I would
the first 3 rounds.
I will say
Yeah,
the only thing I will say about that team, I will say one actually nice thing. Brandon Woodruff had like a very high risk
I love
surgery
Woodruff.
for like his Major League Baseball career, and I understand his first 2 starts were against the Marlins and the Nationals, which is like, you know, not the wildest of competition, but the fact that he looked as good as he did, like I'm very happy that he was able to not only just make it back, but like look like a guy that I think will continue to have a Major League Baseball career. It's going to look different because of how he throws now, but you know, great pitchers find a way to adjust as they get older and morph into different guys. And to see him be able to do that successfully, like that is very cool because that surgery is like a career killer for a lot of guys. NL East, other stuff, Phillies, they'll go get a closer. I don't know who.
yeah.
Pick a name, throw it at the dartboard.
A little Estevez reunion, maybe. I don't know if the
Again,
Royals
who?
are gonna Estevez. I don't know if the Royals are
Maybe, but
gonna. Yeah,
like Griffin Jacks, like I feel like there's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's, I don't know who they're gonna get because like the Orioles were like, we're gonna listen to offers for Bautista, but I was like, be fucking for real. That guy's under control for like 2 years after or 3 years after this. Like
yeah.
I'm not paying that. He's really good, but like no. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna come down to, and you know what's crazy too is there's no way Gino just hit another home run off the Cardinals. Yep, he did. Um, Upping his Yankee value every day. Actually, that was my. We'll get to where I think he's going. Spoiler: it's not the Yankees, like I said. The interesting stuff out of Cardinals rumor mill is the Cardinals will just QO Helsley,
Oh,
which I think I'm more pro QO than trading him because
for a reliever, sure.
he's having a fine year, but I'd rather kick the can on it a year and either then move him after or like get another good pick.
Yeah.
That's per Katie Wu of The Athletic. I'm not using Cardinals Reek as my number one source on that. Other
yeah,
NL East
so, I mean,
options, the Nationals, if there's a warm body, they should fucking trade them. Like,
yeah.
their rebuild has
Not
gone
named-
horribly. I know you're
Yeah,
close to
no.
that proximity wise, but like I'd like to hear more on your perspective of what it's like to like go to Nats games.
I haven't even been to one that recently. I was supposed to go last night, and I didn't end up going because of brain delay and everything. Yeah, I mean, especially if you look at their rebuild that are not guys that came back in the Soto trade. Woof. I mean, Abrams is like a good shortstop. He's like fine to fill in that spot. James Wood is a dude. I really like James Wood, and Mackenzie Gore has looked great this year. And other than that, like, name me other Nationals play. Like, there's not that much coming along.
I mean, Dylan Cruz has been hurt. Like, he was showing some signs of life, but I think that he'll be a good player. But like the comp that I had for him, even as a draft prospect, was like Miami Christian Yelich, which is like a good player, but like that's like a fringe all-star, which you need.
Right.
Like, but that means he's the third best guy in a lineup. And I think James Wood could be the first best guy. I think they have like a 1, 2, 3 in a lineup. Like they've got Woods, Abrams, Cruz. It's 4 through 9.
Yeah. No, I remember playing like Out of the Park 21 or something where Luis Garcia Jr. was like sneaky a guy. He is not at all a guy. He is such a light hitter and like I think one of the worst defenders all positions.
That's his problem. He's a wicked defender
in the majors. So yeah, there's just like there's a lot that needs to come together for this to be a real club. And I mean, I think early in the season we were like, some of these guys are looking promising in a way where things might shape up nicely for the Nats. And I think those guys look good, but everything around them has continued to look pretty abysmal.
And there's such a difficult free agent destination too.
Yeah.
Like it's very much, I think it's hard for them to sign free agents, and it's not a market size.
Andy Pais just booted the fuck out of a can of corn for the Brewers to tie the game. I am physically ill.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like the Marlins with I feel like less names are in a better spot.
Oh, absolutely.
They made out like bandits in the Trevor Rogers deal. Kyle Stowers was in the home run swing off to end the All-Star game. Like that's insane. So I don't know. I think the Marlins. I think they should just hold Sandy. He's got that contract is so long. Like,
is it really?
There's like 2 more years after. There's like 2 more years or so after this, with a club option to make it 3.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, do you buy the idea that he doesn't want to be playing there?
I don't know. I don't think he hates being there. I think he hates losing. But also, look at their record right now. How bad do you think they are right now? If you had to guess. Like, how many games under do you think they are? Like, based on just the optics of, like, how everyone thinks he's, like, for sure gone.
I mean, okay, how many games under do I think they are? It's like 5. How many games based on the optics that he's for sure gone? You'd guess like 10, 15.
Yeah. They're 6 games under.
Yeah.
There are, like, and I know it's easy to be like, oh, all they have to do is win for a week straight. But, like, all you have to do is a week of good baseball, and that team is 500. Like,
why doesn't everybody do that? Are they stupid?
Yeah, I've been saying, bro. I mean, I don't even know if he wants to or not. I think he's indifferent. He's getting paid. Like, he gets to live somewhere that's not bad to live.
Yeah. I mean, really what it comes down to, I feel like the Marlins are not, like, based on his performance this year, teams are going to try and lowball for what you would have expected the offer to look like at the beginning of the season. Like, the offers are going to look like lowballs now. I think the Marlins are going to continue to value him more highly, and he's not going to be pushing to get out. And I agree. Like, I still see him getting traded, but I agree that could lead to a scenario where he stays, and it's not actually as surprising as we would have guessed, going into the year.
Well, and I think people also assume that he'd be really good, and for the Marlins, you'd be like, well, we're 6 under, and he's pitching like a god, so we might as well cash this in. Especially
Yeah.
seeing as how the organization, how they've handled, like how they handled trading Jazz, how they handled trading Trevor Rogers, like Augustine Ramirez, like Kyle Stowers, like Norby's not amazing, but like he's starting. Like,
And I mean, if you want to get hypothetical with it, the other argument that I could hear is like, if you're 6 games under and Sandy is nowhere close to what you maybe hoped he would be based on his record, like record historically, I could see in your eyes saying, actually, like, all that we need is for our former Cy Young pitcher to be like all-star level again, and
absolutely.
we're a 500 club, right?
Mhm.
So,
If you had Sandy pitching out, if they were 2 games under right now, like we're talking about them as like, are they the team that's going to go get,
yeah,
oh
go
my
get
God,
Houston
like
sneak in
what
as
if they
well.
just start saying, you know what, fuck it, let's buy crazy low on Luis Robert Jr. We're 2 games under, and he's got like a pretty team friendly deal. Like,
That'd be sick.
you know what I mean? Like, we're not paying
Yeah.
anybody dick. Like, we might as well take a shot.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Like, speaking of putting a Latin guy in Miami and letting the vibes improve, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I hear you on that. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
We'll start in the Centrals again. I don't know what the Cubs are gonna do. They just had, was it Carter Hawkins got on 670 the score, being like, we'd have to significantly overpay for guys on the market. I think he's trying to throw water on the fact they're not gonna like buy at like the S tier names, but also at the same time, like they can buy at a normal level,
They
and I
can
think
swing
that's
it.
totally okay. I think
They
he's
can
just
swing
trying to temper fans' expectations so they don't sharpen the pitchforks when it's like, yeah, we got Griffin Jackson, Harrison Bader from the Twins, which are like objectively like good pickups, like a good fourth outfielder, like short side
Yeah.
platoon, and a high leverage guy. Like, I think they're gonna do a very reasonable, normal buy, and some fans won't like that, but I think it's the right decision.
Yeah, I think. So I think that the buy needs to be pitching focused, no matter what. Like, there's fewer questions as far as what the lineup looks like, and especially when you want to talk fourth outfielder, like any sort of offensive flexibility. I would actually argue that an infielder who can provide some impact with the bat is more meaningful than a fourth outfielder for this club, just because
Sure.
right now you've got an outfielder DHing, and on the bench is, Vidal Brujan, Justin Turner, and you're running out Matt Shaw, who's OPSing like under 600, right? So if you want to talk about a part of the lineup where the Cubs are light hitting, it's the infield. And I think that if you acquire a guy who can play infield positions and also just provide you a little bit more consistent offensive production, that's going to make more of an impact. And like Suzuki doesn't look good playing the outfield, but you can put him out there, right? So
Sure.
I think to me, that's the bat. And if you were going into the season, right, it was third baseman that you need. And that still kind of looks like maybe we don't want Matt Shaw to be the everyday guy when it comes to September. So that's the
but like
offensive.
that's the issue, is like Ryan McManus or Cabrian Hayes, and it's like, but the whole reason you acquire those guys is because they have a contract already and they wouldn't be rentals.
Yeah.
But you want a third base rental.
Yeah.
I don't think you want Suarez, only because your staff is built on, like, they have swing and miss. Your starting staff has the ability to get swing and miss, but there is a lot of like pitch to contact, and it's like, I don't want to acquire a third baseman like Gino if the expectation is like, we're getting you 50-50 for the glove and the bat.
Yeah.
Gino is more, yeah.
So and especially like on a good day, it's not like the DH spot is flexible. Like if you're putting your best lineup out there, say as DH, right? So it's not like we can get this guy and DH him most of the time. That's kind of occupied. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting what their approach is to placing relative value on starting versus relief pitching. Because if you want to talk about where the two kind of sides of the pitching staff are relative to the beginning of the season, I think there were high hopes for the starting pitching, and the relief pitching was, I mean, especially given what happened last year, a little bit less. Yeah, exactly. Not as high of expectations. And the performance has been pretty much flipped. The relief pitching was a little rocky to start the year, but they've been, I mean, today,
Absolutely. It's
notwithstanding.
the blind dart throws. It worked.
Yeah. Like, and so many guys that they took chances on to just give innings this year have turned into real, like, super valuable innings pitchers. And again, notwithstanding, like Drew Pomeranz, Chris Flexen, Brad Keller, like they pulled a bunch of guys who,
let's remember some guys territory for a lot of this bullpen.
yeah, and actually they've been like really good relievers. So
Yeah.
the question is, how much are you trying to fill in for a starting pitching staff that has been hit by injuries pretty significantly, or how much are you trying to get out ahead of maybe some bullpen regression for guys like Pomeranz and Flexen, who are probably not going to be sub-1 ERA guys by the end of the year, and certainly they're not going to be guys that you want to rely on like their sub-1 ERA guys in the postseason.
Yeah, and that's where, like, I use Griffin Jacks and Bader as just of like something in my head of like the 2-for-1. I mean, but they could. I think the Twins are a good fit, like Willie Castro and Griffin Jacks. If you want a guy that can do various infield spots, like there you go.
Shout out ally Willie Castro.
That makes sense to me. I think the Cubs going and getting a guy like Jacks, or because even Duran, like Yohan Duran, like is a good example of like. I think they need to go out and get a guy that is not a. They need to go out and not get the Ryan Helsley, Josh Hader, like the ninth inning is mine and only mine. I think that they would be best suited to go get a guy that, in 9 times out of 10, you can put in the ninth inning, but also a guy that is open and willing and comfortable to take on. Hey, it's bottom 7, and we need to get you. Like it's their 3, their 4 hitter. We're going to put you in now, and you're going to also get the 8th, but like we need 4 outs from you. I think you go get a guy like that. And that's why I think a guy like Griffin Jacks makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. And it's nice they're in a privileged position in the sense that if you want to have 2 guys that you can really count on relief-wise, like Palencia is one of them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean, getting a guy that's comfortable being –
yeah.
That's why the Twins, I think, is like the perfect because they literally do that with like 4 guys. So you could kind of whichever guy they ask the least for, that's good maybe. Like I know that's probably not how those phone calls go where they get on the phone and they're like, "All right, what guy cost us the least?" That's also very good. But like maybe it is. Maybe it is that simple.
You can never know for sure. But so to the extent I just that like I made the comment like, you don't necessarily want to ride all these relievers as if they are true talent, the production that you've gotten out of them so far. But that's not to say that there's a lot of talent there that you're confident with already. Like you're looking for like one starting pitcher, one reliever, and then hopefully an infield bat, which is like 3 players is a significant deadline. But at the same time,
they seem like the Merrill Kelly fit to me. I think Merrill Kelly is the guy that I think the Cubs get.
I can see that. And here's the other thing that I'll say is literally today they're providing updates during the game that both Javier Assad and Jameson Taillon are in the middle of rehabbing. And Assad is a guy who hasn't even seen the mound yet this year, right? So that's kind of a nice like reinforcements from within scenario as well, where I almost wouldn't be shocked if the Cubs don't get like an impact starter. If they get like another guy who could be in the mix depth-wise.
Gotcha. That makes sense too.
Which is also like what Spencer Turnbull is.
Right. That's why I said like that was like a smart move.
There was
maybe like Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah, Michael Lorenzen. Somebody on Reddit threw out Michael Soroka today. Like any starting pitcher you could think of.
Piss off White Sox fans.
Exactly. Any starting pitcher that you could think of, the name has probably been floated on the Cubs subreddit already.
Andrew Heaney. Is Andrew Heaney good? This thread has been closed. I don't think the Brewers and Reds will do shit. One because it is a organization of words that would get our account banned, and the other because I don't think the Reds are smart enough. I don't think the Reds are smart enough, and Hunter Green is coming back. So like, I'm gonna use. God, who was it in the Premier? Who was it in the Prem that hit this one all the time? Getting a guy back from injury is just as good as getting a transfer. Who was that? That dude would hit that all the time.
You dropped this at one point. I think you said it was Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. The Alex Ferguson, like, it's better to get healthy than to go get somebody new. I think that's what the Reds are going to do. Like, we're getting, which it's Hunter Green. So, like, that's valid, actually, to be like, I'll be honest. I don't think that there is no one that the Reds could trade for that is better than Hunter Green. So, if your thought process is like, stick with that, then absolutely. I think the Reds are more likely to make some sort of move in the offseason to address rotation.
Yeah. And the Brewers already got their guy, who's Andrew Vaughn currently batting.
Dude.
Makes me sick that he's actually done anything of note for them. Oh, my.
Well, I don't think either of them do anything. I think the Pirates are going to move anyone not named Brian Reynolds because, they're certainly not selling low on that contract. And he's got like a 670 OPS and an expected OPS of like 780.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are going to trade Steven Matz and Phil Maton. I think they will hold Helsley because they'll QO him. Matz and Matt, honestly, they would never do this. If the Cardinals were not in the same division as the Cubs, I'd be like, Steven Matz is a good example for the Cubs of like, can be in the bullpen, but could conceivably give you 4 1/3 or 5 innings in a spot start if you so need. But yeah, I think Matz is gone, and I think Maton is gone, which I'm totally fine with. Because why would you not? I think you should hold Helsley. I think it's important for the development of the team this year. Like we talk about, like, runway and all that. I think it's important for the team this year to like not completely tank. They should tailor. So I think the Mats and the Maton move should net you guys that like can help. And if it means help next year, it means help next year. But like, again, it goes back to like, they can't tear down. Like there is no tear down for them. Like the guys that are good in producing for you either have a full no trade clause like Wilson Contreras, who doesn't want to go and is playing well, or it's like Brendan Donovan, where it's like, I'm sure as fuck not trading a 28-year-old with like 3 years of control still that's can play anywhere and be a leadoff guy. So I think they'll tailor. I don't think they're going to like completely pack it in. I'm curious to see what they do in the offseason. I think the easiest fix for this team is to next year plan on having Sonny Gray, Liam Doyle, Quinn Matthews, Matthew Liberatore, and a starting pitcher signed from free agency. My name is Shane Bieber that I have in my head.
Oh, that would be, I mean, I can't say I'd be a huge fan of that, but that would certainly be interesting. I'm interested to see how he kicks on with his next club for sure.
I think that Bieber is the exact kind of guy the Cardinals need to target, which is like a guy with strikeout stuff. But the big thing for him that he will be able to do is eat innings in a non-back end starter fashion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely fine if the Cardinals' thought process is like, we're just going to have 5 starters that are somewhere in between an SP2 and an SP4. I'm completely fine if that's how they choose to build the rotation, because I think that ultimately, like, that's kind of what this team is when it's at its best, is what it's doing. So that's kind of how I feel. The Cardinals are kind of just like, if they get an offer they can't refuse on Matz or Maton, be cool with it. And other than that, I'd be fine. I would be fine putting – I think they're going to put Fedde on waivers in, like, August. They're going to do the, like, veteran waiver deadline thing for him so he can sign with a playoff team if someone is so willing, because they'll give that spot to McGreevy to end the year. And outside of that, I don't think they're doing anything else, which, again, I'm fine with. I said this at the start of the year. They're going to have the same record they did last year, except the run differential won't be, like, minus 100. And sure enough, they're 3 games over 500, and their run differential is positive. So they're doing exactly what they need to be on track to do, which is be competitive and not embarrassing to watch every day. And then next year we go from that to like, they could be in the playoffs. So
two other thoughts on the NL Central. One is that in reality, we have 60 games left to play. In reality, the division probably comes down to the 8 games that the Cubs and Brewers have left, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And
you better pray to God you have a big enough lead, because the last 3 games the Cubs play against the regulars in the regular season.
I know, dude.
When the Cardinals roll into that series at 81-78, And like, it's going to be so funny, bro. Like
I should not be this unsettled when my team has the best record in baseball.
no, but you do by half a game. And the problem is, the mighty AL East fans will tell you they're in the most competitive division in baseball. I think not, pal.
Yeah, I know. No, the NL Central's sick this year.
It is, honestly. What's
yeah.
funny is, like, had the Cubs not, I was so close to being fully correct on my prediction because I said that I thought the Cubs bullpen would prevent them from winning 90 games, but I thought they were going to win like 89. Like, I'm pretty sure I said something like that. Like, I was like, they're going to win the division, but they're going to, because I thought the bullpen was going to be like, we have to figure it out all the way through the deadline, and then it would get right. And like, that's where the really good baseball would come.
Yeah.
But my prediction was I think there's going to be 4 teams that win at least 80 games and 0 that win 90. And it's kind of looking like that's going to be true, at least on the 4 teams winning 80 games standpoint.
Yeah,
like,
4 teams winning 80 for sure. I think the Cubs and the Brewers both clear 90 from here. And,
yes. Which, yeah. Yeah, the Brewers won't do shit because they never do. And also, like, they're going to do the Sir Alex Ferguson bit of, like, well, we got Woodruff back. So they're also going to get Nestor back. Like, I don't know. What I will say, I'm going to get on camera and say this. This is not sour grapes. It's fucking bullshit that Jacob Mizorowski was in the All-Star game. That was fucking terrible.
And he actually pitched. Yeah.
Yeah, which, like, I get it's a game. It doesn't matter. Who cares? But, like, I don't know. Like, fuck off with that. That's ridiculous. It's like, oh my God, this is just like Paul Skeens. No, it is not like Paul Skeens. Like, Paul Skeens was a superstar before he got drafted. Like, it is not like Paul Skeens was like anointed this. Like, that's not Mizorowski. I get he's good, and he's probably going to make the All-Star game even next year, and it will be on merit. But, like, him being the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, like, I'm sorry, man. 10 starts is not Rookie of the Year.
He's got a lot of work to go.
I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, dude. That doesn't move me. Like, 50 really good innings. You know who else does that? Closers. Like, not a fan.
And, I don't know. I've seen it several times that the Cubs presumably have the easiest strength of schedule left. But again, it's like there's so much left to play against the division. I don't care. That doesn't matter. And we talked about this already. It's just that it's so back-weighted, the actual divisional part of the schedule. Like, how can you feel secure with anything? You're gunning for a bye that would come from winning the division, and you still have to play 8 out of 11 games from the Brewers, and there's still 5 Cubs-Cardinals games to play. Like,
at least 5.
Yeah.
And no more than 5. We've only played. Oh no,
we played 2 series, right?
Yeah.
Is it 11 games in the division now?
So we have 6. We have 2. We have 6. We have 2 games, 2 series left. Yeah. No.
Was one of the series only a 2-game?
Then how? Oh, is it a 4-game set to end the year? Is it a Thursday through Sunday to end the year? Because we played a 3-game set in Busch, and then a 4-game in Busch that we split. Then you guys took the series in Wrigley.
3 at Busch in early August. And it's a 3-game set to end the series.
So we just get 12 games because why not? Okay, sure. We're just making it up as we go along.
Wait. Is it 13 games against all the division?
I guess that would add
13.
up.
It's 13, yeah.
Get that nonsense out of here. By the way, they just showed it on the Cardinals graphic. Absolutely insane. We talked about like the Marlins. And again, this goes back to my take of like, You shouldn't get a ton of pats on the back when you trade away like an all-star and the return you get is good. Like that should be the standard. But Trevor Rogers was not an all-star, and if the season ended today, Kyle Stowers would win the NL batting title. So, which is insane. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on the NL Central. Oh no way! Oh my God, Donnie just went 3rd deck foul. I did not know he had that in his bag. Holy moly!
Hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow.